everybody, and welcome to today's edition of the SCHOTT Pharmaversity podcast. My name is Neus, and I'm going to be your host today. I have with me two experts, and we will talk about cold temperatures. In fact, about deep cold drug storage temperatures. So, if you deal with such conditions, either in early drug development stage or in the course of a life cycle change to a more convenient drug delivery system, stay here. I am convinced that today's podcast can help you choosing the ideal packaging for your deep cold stored drugs. Before we start, let me introduce briefly the speakers of today. We have Victoria de la Torre, Victoria's Global Product Manager for Bulk and Sterile Solutions. She will give an insight to the Everic Freeze, the state-of-the-art vial solution for low temperature applications. And we have Tom van Ginneken too. Tom is Head of Product Management for the Polymer Solutions portfolio, and Tom will shed some light on SCHOTT Tobac Freeze, the COC syringe portfolio addressing low, or let's say very low temperatures. Hello, Victoria. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Nes. Good to talk to you again.
Nice to have you both again here. So, jumping into the topic, why are we talking about low temperature applications today, Victoria?
Thank you so much, Nils, for having me here. So, as many of our listeners know, COVID and associated with this, the rise of the mRNA vaccines was a disruptive event in the pharmaceutical industry, and I would even allow myself to say in the history worldwide. Suddenly, since 2020, we all started hearing about new vaccines that were based on mRNA, on DNA, on gene therapy, or viral vector therapies. Also, more and more pharmaceutical companies started investing in their own research and development and brought to the market a new type of biological drugs that, although they can be produced with acceptable cost, are so sensitive that require storage at deep cold temperatures down to minus 100 degrees. It is necessary to keep the drugs stable until point of use. Just to let you know how much this market has been growing on the last, I would say, 3 years, I would like to highlight that in 2023, there are around 11 mRNA drugs in the market for therapies as diverse as infectious diseases, oncology, or for the central nervous system. And more than 100 new therapies are in phase 1, 2, or 3 of clinical trials. Another very big and growing kind of therapy is the gene therapy, to which we have currently 3 drugs into the market with additional indications in phase 2 or 3 of clinical trials. And we can say that approximately 45 drugs are in phase 1 of clinical trials. So it is a market that is constantly growing, and it doesn't seem that it's going to change.
Okay, amazing. So you've mentioned here the specific conditions of these kind of drugs. Do these conditions place a challenge or require specific primary packaging?
For sure. And here I would like to highlight or put the focus on something that it was already mentioned, and it's sensible. How sensible are these new drugs? That the efficiency can be affected if the container with the solution inside was not stored at the correct temperature, which, depending on the application, can be in a range from minus 80 to minus 100, or for some drugs, even lower than that. Since these biological drugs are quite new on the market, there was little to no experience at all regarding how the primary packaging was going to perform under these temperatures, specifically for challenges that are very important to pharmaceutical companies, as the container closure integrity, the mechanical stability, the sterility, between others. For this reason, SCHOTT Pharma developed a portfolio of both vials and syringes that are able to cope with these low temperatures demands.
Thanks. So we introduced you already as the responsible for the vials part. So one of these ones you're mentioning is the Everik freeze. Could you please tell us a little bit more what differentiates this product from a standard vial?
It will be my pleasure, Niels. So what is Everik freeze? And I would like to start mentioning that Everik freeze is the first glass vial in the market suitable for the deep cold storage temperatures down to -80 degrees. And here highlighting the part of glass. Why is this important? Because we already know that the stress on this material at low temperatures, in combination with, for example, multiple freeze thaw cycles, that is something that many pharmaceutical companies perform, increases the chance of vial breakage, especially if the container is already pre-flow. If the container experiences stress during the processing due to glass-to-glass contact, glass-to-metal contact, stress on the transport, thermal tensions between others. These risks are very important for the pharmaceutical companies because the drugs contained in the vials can cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. For this, we have invested time, research. We put the best SCHOTT minds to think about what can be the solution, and we came up with Everik freeze, which is we choose a glass with enhanced strength, a geometrical optimization of the vial, nevertheless keeping the outer dimensions as ISO, and an improved conversion process, which allow us to use this vial with an improved strength for deep cold storage of the drugs. So what is Everik freeze? Everik freeze is a glass vial that provides improved strength without changing the glass composition or applying any other type of additional chemical treatment.
Great. I think this is of great importance, right? So when using a new vial, I assume you've performed many tests and have data for that. What kind of data exactly is the one that you have available for Everik freeze vials?
Before I mention some of the challenges that the pharmaceutical companies have when dealing with deep cold storage, we took these challenges and we performed different tests that we are going to show how our vial performed better than a standard one for this. First one, CCI. We have tested the CCI at -80 degrees, and we have proven that CCI in deep cold temperatures can be maintained with type 1 glass borosilicate ISO vials. Later on, we took the freezing part. We put our vials in storage at -80 degrees, and we tested the burst pressure resistance. And the tests have shown that Everik freeze vials, with all the characteristics that I mentioned before, have an improved burst pressure after deep freezing. But there was a part that was missing, and it was the processing of the vials itself that can have an impact on the strength of the vial. So after processing and after freezing our vials, we are tested for burst pressure, and that was the ultimate test. And Everik freeze showed an improved strength versus what we can call a normal glass vial.
Great, Victoria, thanks. Could you please tell us in which formats is Everik freeze available?
So Everik freeze will be available in a very big range of formats from 2 milliliters up to 30 milliliters, and very important, produced with violet glass, a specific type of violet glass that is called with optimized strength, but with the same chemical composition. So there is no change of re-registering the vial if one of our customers now is thinking about changing from a standard to an Everik freeze one.
Thank you. So now I'd like to move to Tom. So Tom, we had you already several times here talking about the polymer prefill syringes called Topac. So you've launched the SCHOTT Topac Freeze earlier this year. Can you please, for the audience, maybe briefly summarize what are the key features of this product?
Yeah, sure. So our SCHOTT Topac syringe offer is our polymer syringe offer, cyclic olefin copolymer. And in this brand, we try to make it as easy for customers as possible, which means that we create sub-brands for specific applications. And the SCHOTT Topac Freeze is a syringe portfolio specifically developed for low temperature applications. And the polymer syringe, it has some certain advantages. So first of all, we created an extensive data package for the entire syringe functionality at those low temperatures. That means container closure integrity all the way up to minus 100 degrees, but the entire syringe performance, breakage, break losing gliding forms, subvisible particles. So all of the functionalities is tested at those extreme low temperatures. Second advantage of this product group is that it uses a reactive cross-linked silicone technology. And that minimizes the drug interaction as well as it creates lower subvisible particles. And the last advantage as part of the data package, which is that we also created an LNP stability study, so a lipid nanoparticle stability study. So those are the microspheres that encapsulate the mRNA technology. So what we did here is just to verify that the LNP stability is as good in a glass vial as it is in a polymer syringe. So ultimately, we just try to reduce the risk for pharma companies and find, let's say, the ideal syringe for those low temperature applications.
Awesome, thanks. How has the market feedback been so far?
Oh yeah, great. So we launched beginning of the year, and I have to say there was a lot of interest. So it seems that we hit the right nerve in the market, and we tried to solve an issue that pharma companies were really dealing with. So one of the successes is that already multiple major mRNA manufacturers have selected our syringe for their entire prophylactic vaccine pipeline. And besides those that already selected us, we still have a lot more discussions of pharma customers that are evaluating this syringe also for other kind of applications besides mRNA. I'm also happy that the relevance of this syringe portfolio is also confirmed by the multiple industry awards that have assigned to this product, with the latest being the Pharma Innovation Award from the Pharma Manufacturing. So overall, we're just happy to be part of saving lives, providing healthcare for millions of patients, and we look forward to help other customers to bring their low temperature drug to the market as well. And this is why, besides the 1 ml long that we recently launched, we're also developing other formats all the way up to 10 ml, and for the entire syringe system, being plunger and plunger rod as well. And we even are testing to lower temperatures all the way down to minus 180 degrees for even more challenging storage requirements.
Great. Thank you, Tom, for the a summary and refresher. And now I'd like to come to the key question. SCHOTT Pharma has an offering for low temperatures applications, which includes both vials and syringes. How do you exactly position the one to the other, and when do you recommend one over the other?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, both definitely have their place in the life cycle approach. So vials are by far still the golden standard, and this is driven by fast time to market. It's because a combination of the decades of experience with the product, its regulatory pathway, the commercial availability of different vials. It's also much easier to do the fill and finishing process. So it overall reduces the surprises that can come in the early process of commercializing a drug, and therefore a delay in the drug registration is not expected. So those are all of the advantages of the well-known vial. But syringes also have their advantage. So they are more convenient. So syringe actually has two functions. It is a container so to keep the drug stable over time, as well as it is an injection device, which means that a lot of the cumbersome drug preparation steps are eliminated with a prefilled syringe, and the likelihood for medical errors thereby is reduced. And I can give you an example with using COVID vaccine as an example to make it more concrete. So during the pandemic, the most important goal was to get as many people vaccinated in the shortest time possible. So the vaccination centers were paramount to reach this goal. Now, the vaccination process looked more like an efficient assembly line than a healthcare campaign. So the multi-dose vial allowed for fast availability of the vaccine, and then the trained healthcare workers were preparing the syringes around the clock to support the high vaccination rate. Now, that being said, so we know that going forward, we'll move into an endemic situation, which means that there will be some periodic revaccination, especially for high-risk patients, on a, let's say, yearly basis, so similar to the flu shot. And this will drive some changes to the vaccination approach. So firstly, vaccination will likely happen more at your general practitioner, so your doctor. Most developed countries have a vaccination rate of, let's say, 50 to 80% of the entire population. So the once so important vaccination centers are therefore disappearing because there's simply less need for efficient mass vaccination. So secondly, the current multi-dose vial requires multiple drug preparation steps. And once the vial is opened, the shelf life of the vial is limited to just a couple of hours. So if the physician doesn't have enough patients that day, the remaining drug in the vial has to be discarded. Therefore, we see a trend towards single-dose devices. And let's say the easiest of those is a prefilled syringe.
Wonderful, Tom. I think this was crystal clear, the reasons why one or the other, and that the different circumstances require different solutions. Thanks for that. So I'd like to come back to Victoria before we finish. So Victoria, regarding the vials and the Evercraze vials, what is next to come?
And as I mentioned before, we are not thinking about expanding the range of our portfolio because so far it's quite broad, but we are investing in bringing to the customer more and different type of data that can show the improvements in the strength of Evercraze vials. For that, we are performing new kind of tests with different vial formats or diverse prefillable volumes. And we think that the data will be available on the near future. So I will say stay tuned and join us on the next Pharmaversity sessions about Evercraze.
This would be great, and I would be more than happy to host you again. Okay, so we've reached the end of our dialogue, of our conversation. I thank you very much for your time. I thanks a lot to the audience for hearing to this podcast. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.